Good evening, everybody. Thank you all for being here. And I mean that, thank you all for being here. I know that there's a lot of people here that um, are dedicated to public service in this room at least twice a month. But a lot of people in this room that haven't been in this room often, or perhaps this is your first time. And I appreciate you being here too. As is required by the charter, and also tradition for decades in New Haven, the mayor early in February gives his or her State of the Union speech, and I'm here to do that tonight. And then followed by the speech, the Alders will continue with their regular meeting. So I'm very grateful to be here. President Walker Myers, City Clerk Smart, members of the Board of Alders, fellow New Haven residents, and guests. It is good to be with you once again and to provide an update on the state of our city. A month ago, we gathered at Wilbur-Cross High School to inaugurate our new city government and take our oaths of office and begin the work together for 2024. And as you may recall in my remarks, I noted that our city has a big anniversary on the horizon 10 years from now. In 2034, New Haven will be celebrating our 250th anniversary as an incorporated city, dating back to 1784, 250 years. With such a milestone, it is time to reflect on both where we stand as a city today and where we want to go in the future, the values we hold, the challenges we face, the progress we've made, and the continued work that's required to uplift more of our residents so they have an opportunity to thrive. In what type of city do we want to live in 2034? In what type of city do we want our children to live and inherit? Where do we want to make our biggest investments? What do we want to be known for as a city and as a people as we prepare to celebrate those 250 years? You know, in many ways, we think about this question every day, about who we are and how we define ourselves as a city. But in this past month, since our inauguration, we've begun a more deliberate journey together to envision and more thoughtfully consider what city we want to be when we arrive at this significant 250th anniversary. Last month, we kicked off our Vision 2034 citywide planning process, and over 150 residents showed up in person or participated virtually at our first community meeting in the Hill, eager to share their inputs and ideas about our city and its future. Through the Vision 2034 process, residents will have the opportunity to come together to help collectively develop our priorities, goals, and actions that will touch upon virtually every aspect of our life, and which will ultimately result in the creation of our next 10-year comprehensive plan that will serve as a blueprint and a policy guide for our city's future. And if you haven't already, I encourage you to go to newhavenct.gov/vision 2034 to learn more, sign up, and get involved. New Haven Public Schools also kicked off its citywide planning process to develop its next 5-year strategic operating plan, and over 1,000 people have already participated. Together, students, parents, teachers, administrators, and community members will help inform and identify the priorities, goals, and strategies we put in place to support student learning and growth and to ensure our schools are thriving educational environments for our children, families, and educators. It's an exciting time to be in New Haven because New Haven is hopping. The secret's out, right? We're no longer just the cultural capital of Connecticut. Increasingly, we are a national and global destination well beyond our state's borders. Last January, New Haven was named one of the top 52 places to go in the world by the New York Times. This January, just a couple of weeks ago, Cosmopolitan magazine named New Haven as a top-tier cultural hotspot and encouraged its readers to pack their bags and go and visit. And we all know that New Haven's not a cultural hotspot because it has a trend-setting fashionista as its mayor. In the Cosmopolitan magazine profile, our cool, hip, and always fashionable director of arts, culture, and tourism, Adrian Jefferson, was featured in the story, not me. Although I must say, They might have overlooked something because I have one of the most impressive collections of blue-collared dress shirts of any resident in the city. My whole closet's blue-collar dress shirts. As the article notes, New Haven is a hotspot because all of all our city has to offer. And most significantly, in my opinion, because of our people, who, in the words of Cosmo, are, quote, gorge and diverse. Gorge and diverse. Now, I don't think I've ever used the word gorge before in a speech or even in a conversation, but it is true. From West Rock to East Rock, from City Point to Lighthouse Point to West River, Quinnipiac River, from Newhallville to the Hill, and every neighborhood around and in between. Our city is filled with amazing individuals who are the essence of our city's vibrancy and strength. I'm telling you something that you already all know, right? What's also true is New Haven is a place where more and more people want to continue to live, relocate to, work, visit, start a new business, and raise a family. And because of this, our city is growing in size, growing in strength, and continuing to grow in stature. According to the latest U.S. Census estimates, the Elm City is now nearly 139,000 people strong. Since 2020, New Haven has had a population growth rate of approximately 1.8% per year. While on the flip side, Connecticut's other major cities have experienced very modest growth or declines during the same period. If this growth trend continues, and we have every reason to believe it will, when we celebrate our 250th anniversary as an incorporated city in 2034, or soon thereafter, New Haven is on a path to be a city of 150,000 people and poised to be the most populous city in Connecticut. Currently, only Bridgeport is larger, with a population of 148,000. And while we wish Bridgeport success, I have news for you, Bridgeport, watch out. New Haven is growing, and we're on the move. Importantly, as we grow, and this is very important, we must grow inclusively, equitably, and sustainably. Just as we have led the way in Connecticut in post-pandemic recovery by centering on inclusive growth and by prioritizing equity and sustainability, we will continue to do so during this next chapter of our city's growth as well. Because the aim is not how does New Haven become a city of 150,000 people, right? The aim is how does New Haven become a city of 150,000 thriving people? The alternative would be to fight this growth and try to remain a city of 139,000 people. But if we did so, as has happened, frankly, with many other cities who have experienced rapid growth, as more people move into New Haven, more of our current residents would get pushed out. And that is an outcome we cannot and will not accept. We want everyone to be able to thrive. We must ensure that our residents who were born here, raised here, live here now, and made New Haven what it is today are able to stay here and be beneficiaries of its growth. At the same time, we must ensure we remain a city that is consistent with our values, an inclusive city that welcomes everyone and that is a haven for all. We want residents who come back to New Haven, the returning college graduate or individual returning from incarceration, to have the opportunities to make the Elm City their home again. And we want new arrivals from all economic stations and walks of life to be able to build a life here as well. The refugee, immigrant, young person starting off on a new career, or growing family that is drawn to all New Haven has to offer. So to do right by our current residents and to be true to our values, we must embrace this growth, rise to the challenge, learn our lessons from other cities' successes and their missteps, so that as we grow inclusively, equitably, and sustainably. So the question is, how do we make that happen? I believe the first place we need to start is housing. The first place we need to start is housing, and that's where I'd like to focus most of my remarks this evening. In New Haven, there's a lot of building going on. You all see it every day. All over the city, shovels are in the ground and cranes are in the sky. Nearly all of our new construction is and will continue to be on vacant land or renovating vacant and unused buildings. But not only are we building, we're building lots more affordable housing too. While we still have a ways to go, we can be proud that New Haven has been a leader in the state in affordable housing. Today, a third of our housing stock is affordable, second only to Hartford. And while we wish Hartford success, I have news for you, Hartford. Watch out. New Haven is growing, and we're on the move. Since 2020, when I first took office, approximately 1,900 housing units have been built. And we've built and preserved approximately 900 units of affordable housing. Looking forward, there are approximately 3,500 new housing units in the pipeline. I mean, think about that. 3,500 new housing units in the pipeline. And approximately 1,400 or 40% of them are affordable. And that is a recognition of the work that goes on in this room every second week. And let's be clear, our city of New Haven, and in particular, this Board of Alders, have dedicated more American Rescue Plan funds by far to the creation of affordable housing than any other city in the state, and that deserves a round of applause. And by the way, these housing numbers, that 3,500 number that you saw, doesn't even include the largest development that soon will be officially in the pipeline, which is the redevelopment of the 12-acre Church Street South site directly across from Union Station. Right, Aldo Rodriguez? While the Church Street site is still in the planning stages, we know the development will include a minimum of 300 affordable units and potentially up to 1,000 total units. And by the way, can we truly give Karen Du Bois-Walton, Dr. Du Bois-Walton, and the Elm City communities a huge round of applause? Because of their work acquiring that site, it allows us as a city to activate what we all know is a site that's been fallow for many years. Now, while we are building, we are not building enough, and we are not building fast enough. To make this happen, we need to build housing of all kinds, and for all kinds of people with all kinds of personal budgets. Deeply affordable housing, and market rate housing too. The need for more affordable units is obvious. We all know this, given the number of cost-burdened families we have in our city. But we also need lots more market rate units as well, because those units increase the overall supply, which in turn keeps costs down. Also, thanks to the new inclusionary zoning ordinance, which this Board of Alders passed into law in 2022, anytime new market rate units are built, more affordable units must also be built as a part of that development as well. In addition, we also need different kinds of housing options as well. And that's why we've introduced new legislation to you all to expand the number of and the types of parcels eligible as accessory dwelling units, ADUs. This new legislation would permit homeowners at 23,000 different properties citywide as of right to have the option of adding another residential unit to their property. And it would also permit different types of accessory dwelling units, including tiny homes. Further, in conversation with our residents and this body, we'll continue to explore and advance ways that we can lift existing barriers in the city's zoning law to facilitate the responsible growth and create new housing as well. Now, while we continue to build new housing, we must also ensure that our existing housing stock remains affordable and safe and high quality for our residents. This includes helping more New Haveners achieve the dream of home ownership through our I'm Home down payment and closing cost assistance program, something that this body also supported in your American Rescue Plan funding. This provides eligible first-time lower and working class home buyers with up to $27,500 in financial assistance, enabling more residents to put down long-term roots and to begin to build generational wealth for themselves and their families. That also includes ensuring our city's renters, who represent over 70% of New Haveners, are treated fairly, respected, and protected, especially by absentee or bad-acting mega landlords. Every resident in our city deserves to live somewhere safe, clean, and affordable. To this end, the number of cases handled by the Fair Rent Commission has more than quadrupled in recent years. The number of inspections conducted by the Livable Cities Initiative has increased year over year by 66%. And when there's a lack of compliance and the health and safety of our residents is at risk, we're taking those absentee landlords to court. However, despite these increased efforts, we all know there's simply not enough housing inspectors to cover the rising number of units that have come online and that will come online. We currently have 13 housing code inspectors for an estimated 43,000 rental units. Think about that. 13 inspectors for 43,000 units. That averages out to about 3,300 units per inspector. And while we've got a dedicated city workforce and not every unit is inspected every year, I don't care who you are, it's just not physically possible for one person to inspect that many units. So in this upcoming budget that I'll be presenting on March 1st, I'll be proposing that we significantly increase the number of housing inspectors and housing staff so that we can get the job done for our residents. While we continue to do our job as a city government, we also need to continue to empower tenants themselves to organize and advocate for their collective rights and well-being as residents. And that is why this year I'll be submitting legislation to strengthen our landmark and first of its kind in the state tenants union ordinance, and to significantly expand the number of tenants and the number of properties eligible to be recognized in a tenants union. Now, housing affordability isn't just about the cost of rent or the mortgage. It's about lowering other housing-related costs as well. That's why the city's Office of Climate and Sustainability, in partnership with Neighborhood Housing Services, has been knocking on thousands of doors across the city to sign up residents for free energy efficiency audits and to connect them to home electrification resources, and that will help residents lower their bills and reduce their carbon footprint. It's also why the Health Department is working to connect residents to our Healthy Homes program and lead hazard reduction initiative that provide residents with access to thousands of dollars in federal funds to help test, remediate, and eliminate environmental and other home hazards. Finally, we know some of our residents don't even have a place to rest their head at night. Sometimes life falls apart. And like cities across the nation, homelessness is on the rise in New Haven too. But unlike other places, we are committed to extending compassion, care, and holistic services to individuals experiencing homelessness. Whether that's through one of our 4 daytime navigation hubs, 3 winter warming centers, or 8 emergency shelters. And this board recognized the importance of expanding options for the unhoused by supporting the acquisition and opening of our largest and first non-congregate shelter on Foxen Boulevard, which at scale will have 55 private rooms to serve up to 110 individuals. The site, which is now operational, includes wraparound social services and supportive case management to help connect people to more permanent housing. It has employment and job training opportunities, healthcare and mental health services, and other supportive services. And while much work remains, last year our Office of Housing and Homelessness Services and our community partners served over 1,000 individuals who are unhoused, unstably housed, or unsheltered, and successfully rehoused over 450 people with a more permanent place they could call home. When other places say it's not a problem, New Haven steps up, and that should really make us proud. Now, with housing, it's not simply, if you build it, they will come. Rather, we have to remain a vibrant city where people want to stay and where people want to be. And again, in all this, our growth must be inclusive, equitable, and sustainable. We need a city with a healthy and growing local economy, a city where our residents have access and pathways to good paying jobs, a city where our children receive a high quality education that focuses on the whole child, a city where our streets and neighborhoods are safe, a city where our residents enjoy a high quality of life with great parks, great public transportation, and commuting options, and a city where our environment and our climate is protected. Now, I'm not going to be able to get into the details of each of these topics tonight. I'm sure some of you are happy that because it could be a long night otherwise. But I'd like to offer a few highlights. First, like our population, our economy is growing. We have been on an incredible journey as we have grown from a small regional center to a global world-class city that is rising up through inclusive growth. New Haven has been long an economic center for healthcare, higher education, arts and culture, and the restaurant and food service industries. And while we continue to invest in and grow in these core pillars of our economy, we are also rapidly expanding into fast-growing new sectors that will help drive our future economy. In particular, bio, neuro, and life sciences, technology and quantum technology, the data sciences, and most recently, climate technology. Growing the number of affordable housing units is critical for our residents, but we also want to make sure more and more of our residents can afford the market rate units that are being built as well, and that's about jobs. To this end, we're aggressively working to further strengthen and expand our Career Pathways initiative to connect New Haveners to good-paying jobs in both growing and emerging industries. In fact, just the other week, the U.S. Acting Secretary of Labor, Julie Su, was in town at Gateway to highlight and celebrate the successes of our Career Pathways initiatives at our local colleges and our high schools. Through collaborations with Gateway Community College, Southern Connecticut State University, and New Haven Public Schools, the private sector, and other nonprofit partners, more of our students and young adults are getting connected to meaningful career explorations and opportunities, real-world training, and industry certifications. New Haven Public Schools now offers 17 different industry certifications in fields such as advanced manufacturing, computer engineering, and several health sciences careers, to name a few. This fall, we'll be launching a new bioscience pathway housed in the 101 College Building Biolabs classroom, where our high school students will meet and collaborate with some of the world's leading scientists. We visited this site that is not open yet on Friday, and it is just remarkable. I look forward to bringing you all there to see this classroom. In New Haven, we have a promise that kids who choose to can go to college. We need a promise that every child has a pathway to success, no matter what they do. Outside our schools and universities, this year we invested $1 million in Career Pathways grants across 10 partner organizations, and that's connecting over 1,000 young people to workforce education, training, and certification initiatives. And this year we'll be announcing another $1 million in grants as well. And we're also working to support our local homegrown entrepreneurs with the Small Business Resource Center that supports residents looking to start up or scale their business through professional support, training, resources, networking, and access to capital. Over the past year, there have been 74 graduates of the DNA of an Entrepreneurship program, 16 of which have already started their own business. We did a ribbon cutting for one just last week. Similarly, in partnership with the Community Foundation for Greater New Haven, this past year, the New Haven Equitable Entrepreneurial Ecosystem, NHE3, initiative was launched, which has begun to award an anticipated 750 grants to help support and sustain existing emerging local entrepreneurs as they create jobs, establish economic independence, and build generational wealth, with a particular focus on historically marginalized Black, brown, and female entrepreneurs. And you all supported funding for that program as well. Now that I've talked about housing and jobs, our schools are growing and getting stronger every day. This school year, we welcomed a new superintendent, Dr. Madeline Negron, and she has hit the ground running. Laser focused on student attendance, a strong school culture, and literacy. And by the way, if Cosmo ever does another article in New Haven, I think they better highlight how the superintendent has serious dance moves on the dance floor. My cell phone voicemail box, and if you're a parent of a New Haven Public School student, yours is full as well. With the number of reminder calls I and my fellow parents get from Dr. Negron, Danny Diaz, and New Haven Public Schools to make sure that our children are in schools. And during the 2021-22 school year, we were not in a good place, and we all know that. Our chronic absenteeism rate peaked at 60% as the pandemic upended our lives and our schools. But thanks so much to so many individuals, our teachers, administrators, and staff were making incredible progress with chronic absenteeism. And we have a 33% chronic absenteeism rate during the first half of this school year. So we still have a long way to go, with the state average around 19%. But we're on the right path, and we're going to keep at it to make sure that we're supporting our students and families and fostering an environment where every student feels valued and motivated to attend school every day. In addition, this year, all our elementary schools have implemented our new literacy curriculum that's anchored in the science of reading. And outside the school day, this school year, our New Haven Tutoring Initiative is working with 16 different nonprofit organizations to provide over 800 elementary school students with high-dosage after-school tutoring in reading and math. double the number of organizations and double number of students from our initial 2023 summer pilot. Finally, schools are at their best when they are not only an anchor of learning in the lives of our children, but when they are an anchor in the life of our communities as well. And it was exciting when just last week we joined U.S. Secretary of Education Miguel Cardona when we celebrated two of our schools, Fairhaven School and Fame, being awarded $2.5 million federal grant to become full-service community schools. This initiative, led by Clifford Beers Community Care Center in partnership with New Haven Public Schools and 14 other municipal and community-based organizations, will expand the academic and enrichment programs, services, and supports available to Fairhaven students and families, help further activate these schools to serve the community in a coordinated way beyond the traditional school day, and hopefully serve as a model that we can learn from and replicate in other schools. Kudos to Alder Miller for spearheading that initiative. Now, while housing, jobs, and education are core to our success, our community and our neighborhoods are only their best and growing when our residents are enjoying a high quality of life, with great parks and other local places to connect with others, the ability to commute safely and easily on foot, bike, public transportation, or car, and the peace of mind that comes with living on a street and in a neighborhood that is free from violence and crime. The good news is that on all of these fronts, we are making progress. When it comes to public safety, our multi-pronged approach to reduce gun violence is working. I see Chief Jacobson here in the audience. Violent crime continues to fall. Since January 22, violent crime is down 28.5%, and year over year is down 5.8%. We have much more work to do here, but we are making progress. Adding to the technology enhancements we've made in recent years, our real-time crime center at police headquarters is now fully operational. It is the new nerve center for real-time information that is enabling our officers and detectives to get the intelligence they need to respond to, investigate, and solve major crimes. And I'd like to thank the Alders for supporting a historic investment in public safety to allow for this infrastructure. Through strategic law enforcement, a community policing approach, state-of-the-art technology, violence prevention and interruption programs, community resources and supports, I'm looking at Alder Redente, and cross-departmental collaboration, our streets are not only safer, but we're actually connecting individuals who are at the greatest risk of committing or being a victim of an act of gun violence with the supports they need to stay safe, alive, and out of jail, and successfully reintegrate into the community. We are making progress, but we have more work to do. Through our press initiative, we're employing evidence-based practices, supportive case management, and coordinated service delivery to those returning from incarceration, and the results have been remarkable. It's clear in the numbers. Correctional institutions send around 900 individuals back home to New Haven every year. Tragically, the state average is that up to 32% of individuals released or discharged from correctional facilities are reincarcerated within the first year, up to 45% within the first 2 years, and up to 61% within 3 years. That is a public policy failure if ever there was one. However, among the approximately 160 clients who have been involved in the press initiative since the program started about 2 years ago, the recidivism rate is remarkable, 14%. So this year we're expanding press to serve more clients, expand those services offered, and also extend services and support to families of those individuals returning from incarceration as well. We don't talk about the press program enough, which is kind of ironic given the name. But this program is working, and it is a model. It sends a message that in New Haven, we welcome you home, and we want you to stay home. Elm City Compass, our new crisis response team, completed its first full year of operation in 2023. Whether it's a mental health issue, substance use issue, or homelessness issue, we're employing social service response to these situations to ensure the right person with the right skills at the right time is there to help people out. Complementing and supporting the work of the New Haven first responders to 911 calls and through outreach, Compass has responded to over 1,000 calls since it first launched in November of 2022. And when talking about safety, we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about complete streets. When it comes to commuting on our streets, we will continue to implement our Safe Routes for All plan and major corridors projects to make our roads safer for all users, pedestrians, cyclists, drivers. We're committed to expanding our 48 miles of bikeways to 128 miles of bikeways. And this year we'll be getting started on our most ambitious bike and pedestrian project yet, the extension of the Shoreline Greenway Trail, a 4.4-mile route that will be connecting the Farmington Canal Trail to the rest of the Shoreline Greenway. With this new link, New Haveners will be able to travel by bike or foot from downtown up the coast. A growing city also needs a growing public transportation network, and good news is en route here as well. Bus rapid transit is coming to the Elm City. Design and planning are now underway for a historic $150 million project in our public transportation network that will provide faster, more frequent, more reliable, and greener bus service up and down the major corridors of Dixwell Avenue, Columbus Avenue, Grand Avenue, and Whaley Avenue. Construction is expected to begin in 2026, with bus rapid transit beginning in 2029. This will be a game changer for our city and our commuters, and the routes will also extend into our neighboring towns of Hampton and West Haven as well. What else is growing? Our commitment to parks, green spaces, and climate. New Haven is blessed with over 2,200 acres of parkland across 100 sites, and 96% of residents live within a 10-minute walk of the park. But similar to LCI and the number of housing units they need to inspect, that's a lot of park ground to cover. And there's simply not enough park staff to provide the type of maintenance and care that our residents want and that our parks deserve. So in my budget, I'll be proposing separating out Parks and Public Works and increasing the number of park staff so that every neighborhood has parks that are clean, well-maintained, and accessible to all. Excitingly, this year, we will also begin construction of our newest flagship park, Long Wharf Park and Waterfront. This 18-acre shoreline site is a gem of the city and the welcoming sign to New Haven for everyone that travels along I-95. And it is used every day by hundreds of New Haven residents from every neighborhood. Thanks to a $12.1 million investment from the state, this shoreline area will be transformed with an upgraded promenade, playground, outdoor fitness equipment, bike paths, public benches, furniture, and, of course, a food truck pavilion. In conclusion, Madam President, and my fellow New Haveners, the state of our city is strong. And as we walk towards our 250th anniversary, it is inevitable that we will continue to grow because everything our city is and everything we have to offer as a people. We will become the most populated city in Connecticut, but we must grow on our terms, ensuring that each of our longtime New Haven residents benefit from this growth through the creation of thousands more affordable housing units, through the education and training of our young people and adults who deserve access to our growing economy, through the improved quality of life and high-quality parks and environment that bring clean air and a sustainable climate for another 250 years. Yes, we will continue to have challenges, but our future is bright. And by continuing to work together, our city will continue to become one where every one of our residents has the opportunity to thrive. Thank you so much, everybody, and have a good night.